We're going to turn our attention now to our final guest of the day. And let's see here. Joining us is
Nancy Husselman.
Nancy Husselman. Why did my mind go blank there, Nancy? I'm sorry.
With all those other names you just had to shoot out.
Got crazy. And I've said Nancy's going to be here all day. All day I've said Nancy's going to be here. And then when I turn to you to say good morning, I'm like,
who are you?
I'm not sure what that means. But
we'll just let it go.
We'll let it go. How are you doing today?
I'm great.
Good,
I'm doing good.
What would you like to talk about today? I noticed you brought some material with you.
Yes. Just a reminder, because I mentioned to a gentleman the other day, I said something about Red Ribbon Week.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and said, what in the world is Red Ribbon Week? And I looked at him and I said, oh my gosh, we failed at our job. You don't know what Red Ribbon Week is?
Yeah.
And then he looked it all up because I gave him one of these and I said, just read it and see what it is. And he went back and he says, well, in my defense, I didn't know about Red Ribbon Week because I was a senior when it came out and my head wasn't where it was supposed to be. So I thought...
Well, it was very honest of him to say. Yeah.
Yes, it was. So I thought, well, maybe there's some other people out there who have never heard of Red Ribbon Week, but we have tried, of course, as long as I've been in this kind of work, to make sure that everybody knows about it because of the problems we have that are increasing with drugs in our community. Last couple weeks ago, we found a couple of syringes, and unfortunately, it was my granddaughter that found them, and she just picked them up.
Oh, okay.
And
this was in a park, or
it was over here in a place. Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to caution everybody not to do that. Yes, pick them up, but get a napkin or something and wrap them up. Don't touch them because with a new drug, and it's not new, I said new, fentanyl, stuff can get you.
Yeah.
So you don't want your children, and you don't want to, because I almost took it from her, and my daughter said, Mom, don't do that. So, because I wasn't even thinking. So be extremely careful when you pick up these drugs or this paraphernalia about how you handle it and dispose of it. And while I'm on that topic, if you have any drugs in your home that you want to get rid of, and I'm not talking about illegal drugs, although you can dispose of your illegal drugs too, but that's not usually how that works. But anyway, back to my subject. I'm chasing rabbits this morning. If you have any prescription drugs of any kind, remember that there is a drop box at the Artesia Police Department. When you walk through the front door, it's on the right-hand side. It's a great big huge box. You can't miss it. Dispose of your drugs in there. Don't put them down the drain or just throw them out or anything like that. Be very careful. If you want to dispose of them in the original bottles, take your labels off. If you throw your bottles away, take your labels off and tear them off.
Yeah.
But be very careful about how you dispose of those prescription drugs. And that is over there. There's no questions asked. You walk in, drop them in the box, turn around and walk out.
Yeah.
I've done that with some of mine. I don't have any problems with, I can say hi to
if they're expired, they shouldn't be in the house.
They should not be in the house.
Disposed of. But like you said earlier, don't flush them. Don't pour them down the sink. That just messes with the wastewater treatment plant, and it's just not a good thing.
And gets in our water system. And you think, well, it's just a few pills in a bottle. Well, you have 12,000 people in Artesia. I don't know how many people there are, but if we all have a pill bottle and we're all dumping our pills down the drain, we're going to make a mess out of things, and I know it's hard to think of at times like that.
Yeah.
But back to Red Ribbon Week.
Yes.
It was a campaign that was started in 1985 when Enrique, let me get his name, Camaria, I can't pronounce that name right. He was an agent with the DEA, and he was tortured to death, literally, in Mexico because of the work he was doing trying to stop the flow of drugs into the United States. And Nancy Reagan was the one that started Red Ribbon Week in honor of him, and to just bring to light and remind us all we have a problem. And of course, we're on the corridor between here and Mexico. And if you see something, this is something I really wanted to bring out this morning, because I've heard so many people say recently, well, it doesn't do any good to call the cops. It doesn't do any good to call the cops. And my question to you is, how do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know it didn't do some good? If they can start building a case, if they get every one of your phone calls and start putting it together and start working on it, it's difficult. You can't just walk into somebody's house. That's just not how things are done. And well, that guy's got drugs. You know they're dealing drugs, but they have to go through a process. And the drug enforcement agency that we have here is very good at their job. But they're not going to know about it unless somebody tells them.
Right. Well, I know the sheriff has been on this campaign.
Yes.
And he's been working with the drug task force.
Yes.
Which he is very complimentary of the work that they do.
They're amazing.
And he wants to get a lot of these cases, when they go before the judge, to be federal drug cases.
Yes.
Because then that's real. That's big time.
That makes life very uncomfortable for the person that just got caught.
Right.
And of course, if there's other crimes that come into it, then when it goes federal, goodbye, George.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. As far as I'm concerned, it should be that way state, too. But I don't get to make the laws, because we have this constant revolving door, and we have such a major, major problem.
Yep.
That so that's the reason this particular campaign, it comes up every October. It's the last week of this month. I think is so vital to get into our children. I was watching something last night. I don't even know what it was, and they were just making illegal drugs, just, whatever, lackadaisical thing. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. What kind of message are you sending? That it's perfectly okay to do this? It's perfectly okay to put a needle in your arm? It's perfectly okay to drink too much? No, it's not.
Right.
It's not. And parents, please start talking to your kids. We've got some problems in our school already with what's going on with some drugs being passed around. And if you have to go through your kids' pockets every night, do it. That child is yours to raise. That home he's living in is yours. Don't be afraid. Just do it.
Yeah.
And then talk to them. Most of all, talk to your kids and let them know just how bad and how evil and how destructive getting into illegal drugs or alcohol, for that matter. Well, alcohol is a drug. Let's get that straight. But
it is, yes.
But please, your kids are precious. And I was thinking about making a difference. Make a difference in your own home. Start right there. And I've noticed a few times that I've been out, I'm not a shopper, so I don't get out very much, that the lack of communication since all of this mess started, smile at somebody, make a difference in somebody's life, and you'll be surprised how much better you will feel when you walk away.
Yeah. The thing is, if you're wearing a mask, it's hard to see the smile.
It's hard to see the smile, so a word they can hear.
Okay.
I mean, I have problems hearing through a mask. I do, but that doesn't mean that you can't be kind. That doesn't mean that you can't just say, I really hope you have a good day, or can I help you with that? If you're seeing an older person struggling in the grocery store, take a minute. Don't just ignore them or smile. You can smile at them behind your mask, and that shows in your eyes.
Yep.
But you don't have to be grumpy. None of us have to be grumpy. We need to move on. We don't need to COVID's done enough damage.
Yep.
We don't have to let it keep damaging who we are as a community and as people. We're human beings. It's time to make a difference in our
So if you want to wear a red ribbon to show support, next week is the week to do that. If you want to start in your own household, one of the easy things to do is get rid of the expired prescription drugs and bring them out to the police station. I saw an article this week. Some vet clinics around the country are dealing with pets who have gotten into the parents' marijuana stash.
Oh, my goodness.
And now it's causing problems with pets. So it's another one of those things that we've kind of allowed this to happen and become the norm, and we're not thinking about the impact not just on the kids or other people in the household, but now the household pets that are being impacted by this.
One of the things that law enforcement does when they are looking in the house for drugs and stuff like that, they will measure. Okay, you've got a little kid that's this tall, and your drugs are in a drawer that's this high.
Yeah.
That makes that a drug-endangered child.
Right.
So if you have your marijuana, that's down there where even your children and your pets, you don't want to hurt either one of them.
Yeah.
So be careful. And it's legal. I don't agree with it, but it is what it is. So now we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
We have to be responsible, just like drinking alcohol.
That's one of the things that we're dealing with. But then the same thing you said was talk to the law enforcement.
Yes.
Don't not call them. You may be right. Nothing may come from it, but nothing certainly will come from it if you don't.
That's right.
Call.
Right.
And call whatever jurisdiction,
Call every time you need to. I mean, you might just make a nuisance out of yourself, but if you've got some drug parties going across the street and you see black cars pulling up or whatever, pickups, whatever, pulling up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and people getting out and running up to the house and leaving and all this kind of stuff, make a note of it and call and start making a nuisance out of yourself so that the law enforcement can make a case on it.
Yep.
It takes our eyes. There's 12,000 people. How many eyes is that can see, and people that can see and pick up a phone and make a phone call?
Yeah.
Whether it's to the sheriff's department, Artesia Police Department, and then they'll get something going. They can get in touch with the drug enforcement.
Yeah.
And those people are amazing people.
They are. That one, and the sheriff's talked so much about them too.
Yes.
Something else that people need to remember: we've got Halloween coming up here in a little bit, and that has become an adult party holiday now.
Yes.
Which goes right back to the drinking and driving, designated drivers. Think about the kids around while the adults are having all these festivities. So you have to think about these things.
Yes. Don't forget that if you have children and those children are out on the street, whether it's you that's drinking or somebody else, you're putting them in danger.
Yep.
A very real danger. I believe it was several years ago, a lady in Carlsbad on Halloween was crossing the street, and she was ran over and literally drugged down the street by a drunk driver.
Yeah.
So how easily it could happen, and she had kids with her. So please be careful.
Yep.
Halloween's, if you're going to drink, stay at home.
Stay at home. That's right.
Just stay at home, and I know we've heard that more than we want to hear it.
but it needs to be said.
But it needs to be said.
Yeah.
Because there's some people that aren't listening. And if you have children that you have, I'm just going to bring this up, that you have visitation rights or whatever, don't use that time to sit in a bar someplace and drink and then put the kids in the car and take them home.
Yeah.
That's just not cool.
That's right.
For lots of reasons.
Yeah.
And could cause you to lose custody of your child.
Go to the park.
Go to the park. Take the kids and have fun.
Yeah. Do that. Nancy, thank you as always. Appreciate you coming in with info and sharing that. And a reminder about the Red Ribbon Week, which is next week.
Next week.
So.
And wear a red ribbon. I don't know whoever came up with putting all those R's together, but I managed to get them all out straight this morning.
It's a challenge, that's for sure. So, all right. Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate it.
See you next time.
We'll see you. All right.